Right here, boys and girls, welcome back to another video. JBL Motovlogging here, and welcome to the much anticipated Yamaha 2020 Yamaha MT07 5,000 mile review. So it's going to be a long one, stick around. My first proper review of a bike I've got some stuff written down, so stick around if you really want to know what this bike's like to ride every single day through rain, shine, snow, summer, commuting, pleasure. It'll be all in this video, so stick around. Well, here's a good start then. Manual handling, easy peasy. Oh. We're not going to go through the specs or anything like that, because I did that in the first ride and 600 mile review. I'll leave that up here if you want to go see that first. So if you are looking into an MT07, I've got everything from the first ride to the first service to how to break it in. All in videos will be linked in the description, and a few up here as well. It's nice that we've finally got the second camera back, boys and girls. Hopefully this time it's here to stay. So then, let's not waste any time, let's go ahead and get into it. The 2020 Yamaha MT07, what's it like to ride? So if you can see down here on the camera, I've got a little list. I was originally going to have it on the tank bag so I didn't forget anything, but it wouldn't stick to it, so I had to take a photo, so it's on there. How's it been for 5,000 miles? Very, very good. A few little niggles, but overall, yeah, fantastic bike. We'll get a bit more in depth with it. So let's quickly start off with what mods I've done, some stuff that are different to how the bike comes stock. The main ergonomic mods I've put onto the bike is I usually have a larger windscreen on, as you're seeing now, but I took it off today. I don't know why, I just wanted some photos with the bike with a fly screen on. Some underbar mirrors, they're kind of ergonomic, and some custom levers. So that's it, ergonomics wise, you know, how I sit, how I maneuver and handle with the bike. They're the only kind of mods that affect my riding experience, if you will. So the seat then, one that a lot of people kind of overlook when buying a bike or looking into a bike. The stock seat on the Yamaha, so what you wear is a big factor when it comes to comfort. So I usually wear these RICHA pants. They've got seat padding in the bum area. Yeah, they don't seem to make much difference. So when you first sit on the MT07, it is a relatively comfy bike. You know, where the handlebars are, where your feet sit, you sat nice and upright, a little bit of a slant. You know, the handlebars are really close together, they're not far apart, which some people don't like. They switch the bars out, but I really don't mind it. But after a while, you know, if you sat there doing maybe motorway miles, or you're not really moving around in the seat a lot, you know, if you're just tootling around, then yeah, the seat does come quite uncomfortable, to be honest. I went out yesterday on a solo ride and on recording ride, just for a bit of me time, and yeah, I did about 160 odd miles, and my bum was absolutely killing afterwards. It's weird, it's not something I'd noticed before, until somebody asked the question, and then I started noticing that it started hurting me. So I really don't know what the situation is with that, but if I was to do a longer trip, I could probably stick it out. But you know, if I was to really go up the motorway and sit there for a good hour, 2 hour on the bike, then yeah, I probably would have to get some seat padding. So the seat is a little bit uncomfortable, but for everyday riding, we can live with it. So what you're going to find out in this review is a lot of stuff that is more towards the touring aspect and doing the big miles on the bike. And if you're thinking, well, JBL, why didn't you just buy a tracer? I don't know, I was on the fence about a tracer, but I think I just wanted the MT07 for how it looks. So I can't really rip this bike apart that much, because it's my fault for buying it what it's for. So yeah, I kind of take everything with a grain of salt with it. The wind as well, you're buying a naked bike if you're doing the everyday commute to work and back in a city centre, and anything past 55, getting up to 60, you start feeling that wind on your chest. So any sort of long exposure to dual carriageways or motorways, that is going to be a problem. You probably want to put an aftermarket windscreen on, or for example if you are doing a tour. But again, it's something that you can't really complain about when in the market for a naked bike, but it's just one to think about. Oh, so the tyres on the MT07, if you are a regular watcher of the channel, you are probably sick of hearing about tyres on this bike, but this is a review. It's what I've been going on in the past 5k miles, and tyres are a big part of that. So the tyres that come on the MT07, the Bridgestone Battleaxe BT023s. So those tyres lasted me a total of 4,508 miles to the mile I took them off, I don't know. But yeah, 4,500 miles they lasted me. And I've spoke a lot about them, but they did square off down the back. The front tyre had a lot of life left into it. Scrubbing them tyres in, I think it took about 100 and odd miles till I felt confident. But bearing in mind I did get this motorbike in the middle of winter, so it has taken a little bit more than usual. Now the Battleaxe BT023s used to come onto R6s. They are a sport touring tyre, but I think Ron Haslam's race school uses the BT023s as their tyre for their track days, so it can't be a bad tyre. But there was something about them on the MT07 that just didn't sit right with me. I think it was the wet riding. They instilled no confidence at all in the wet. Now, like I'm saying, if you are using this bike as a commuter bike, then wet riding is something you are going to have to consider. Now, are they okay to live with? Yes, you can live with them. You've just got to ride a little bit of caution. But unlike these Road 5s that I've put on now, you can ride in that rain with a ton of confidence. They really put that confidence into you, and you can ride just without kind of thinking about it, if that makes sense. Yeah, let's have a little pull over, and let's have a little talk about the heart of the MT07. So we're going to have a little chat now about the powerhouse, what makes the bike, and that's this lovely big chunk of metal here, the CP2 crossplane 689cc parallel twin crossplane engine. Whew, what an engine! Pew! Just a disclaimer, guys, this bike is A2 restricted at the minute, but you know, it's the same bike, all it has got a little throttle restriction on it, so even if you are looking into an MT07 and you're wanting a full size licensed one, then stick around, because it's the same bike, the same suspension, everything's the same, it's just got that restrictor on it. So you've probably heard, if you're looking into these 07s, that the engine is the big characteristic of these things, and I mean, yeah, it just is. The stock exhaust that comes onto it, headers are catalytic converters, there's one underneath the end can. The bike's basically silent. You can't believe what this bike sounds like when you first get it compared to when you throw an aftermarket pipe on it. It's got to be one of the biggest changes from a stock pipe in any motorbike. Again, on the channel I've got a video talking about the anodising racing exhaust. So I threw this bad boy on, and a lot of people ask, you know, do you need the bike tuning, dyno in, power commander, an ECU flash, an airbox, all this sort of stuff that you hear? In short, no. You can happily get along with it like I have. Would I like one? Yes. Would it void the warranty? Yes. I am considering it. Definitely considering the ECU flash, although it will void the warranty, because I am starting to notice now a little bit of blubbing around town and a few flat spots. But is it something you can live with as an everyday bike around town? Of course it is. It's not awful to ride. That's a lot of thing a lot of people ask, you know, would you ECU flash these? Yes, if you got one off eBay. If you've got it brand new, yes, of course you can, but remember, it will void that warranty of yours. But yeah, the engine is so reliable, doesn't take 2 minutes to warm up. You can absolutely rev these out and thrash them, and they just won't even break. A big thing to do if you are getting a new motorbike is go on Facebook, create an account, and jump onto a forum or an owners group. It's a really good idea before you get the bike, you know, what kind of problems are with it. Are they reliable, this, that and the other, or even just ask on the group. A lot of the people are very inviting, you know, just ask what's the problem with the bike, and you'll get a lot of answers. The main problems with these bikes, we'll get into them, but the engine definitely is not one. It's a super reliable engine, rev it out to the max, and it sounds the absolute bomb. You can't have an MT07 review without one. Is there any sheep or anything around here? I'm not going to scare anybody, am I? So this has no baffling, a full system. It did have a baffling, but we all know what happened to that. the gearbox? How's the gearbox on the bike? It's okay, it's not fantastic. If you do recall back to the video when I first jumped onto it, I did remember saying the gearbox was seamless, but the more you live with it, the more you use it in the rain, in the snow, you get a sense of what it's like. Is the gearbox nice to use? It can be when the bike's warm and the chain's clean and lubed, but if you've been out on a long day, it's rained, that chain's a little bit dry, you're going to have a little bit of a problem trying to get from first to second. Sometimes you are going to hit a lot of false well, not false neutrals, you're going to hit a neutral where you're going from first to second. As for false neutrals, for example fourth to fifth, getting stuck between no gear, I've had it, yes, but that's probably down to my error of not completing a full kick. But definitely the neutral problem going from first to second, I've had that a few times. Now I do remember I had on my 390, I had the same problem, and sometimes all I had to do was clean, lube and take up the chain, and it took that little kick away. I've done it on this and I'm still getting that problem sometimes. Again, it's something you can overcome. It's not a massive problem, it's not dangerous. It starts becoming dangerous when you're at high speeds and you start getting stuck between gears. That's really when your problems start. But then another problem I've noticed, and you guys who also ride 07s may have noticed this, if you're riding a bit spirited and you're in 5th, in 6th, for example, on the motorway, sometimes I'll shut the throttle, close the clutch, kick up, and it just does not want to go into 6th. It doesn't get stuck between a gear, it will just stay in 5th, and I have to really watch myself, shut the throttle, pull the clutch all the way, give it a full kick. It's not as simple as a quick change. All these problems can be fixed very relatively cheaply. None of them are major engine problems or reliability issues. They're just little niggles, and that's what happens when the bike's this cheap. It is a cheap motorbike. They could make this bike expensive. They could make the MT07 SP, throw an Öhlins on it and throw a lot more of these cooler gadgets, a TFT for example. But yeah, that's just how it is. So you've got to understand where the budget comes in. Going back to fueling and how the engine's fueled, when I first got the 07 and it had the stock can on it, I genuinely can't remember what it felt like to ride the bike, how the throttle response was, because I've ridden with the aftermarket pipe for so long. But it's the same now, even with the pipe on and it's not flashed. I've always said the same thing about the 07 engine. If you want to ride like this, if I want to get into 30 mile an hour now in 5th, sitting at 22, the engine's got that torque to just tick over, keep going and going and going. If I was saying I knock into 6th, yes, it blubs, it's not very fun, but if you're really low on fuel, it will do it no problem. It's not jerky, it will just sit there and blub away. But then if you start wanting to get spirited, you want to start cracking on that throttle on the motorway, then if you're in the twisties, it will really go some. That throttle response is nice, it's got that torque and power there for around town and in and out of corners. You don't have to rev it out. So I'm in 3rd now, going 15 miles an hour. Let's see what this kind of pulls like, for example, if I need to get out of a problem. That torque just picks up, it's unbelievable. Fuel consumption then. So over the past couple fuel tanks I've done leading up to this video, I've recorded my average fuel consumption per tank and my actual miles per full tank, going down to about a bar, maybe a bar flashing on the MT07. So my average fuel consumption is 62 miles per gallon. That is riding relatively in the mid-range, not blubbing it, not all the way, 4 to 5,000 RPM. And then mileage wise, so I'm getting about 120, 130 miles out of a tank, again riding in the mid-range. So yeah, that's just an idea of fuel consumption. You guys might ride totally different to me. You might like, revving it out. It might be a toy, it might be a commuter bike, and you might want to get as many miles of it out as you can. But yeah, if you're wanting to get fuel consumption, go ahead and get that ECU flash. Do all sorts of stuff to it, because you can really improve it in that sort of way. So in a nutshell, I hope I haven't blabbed as much as I wanted to. Turn right, I'm not going down there. That's the engine. That's how it's been for 5,000 miles. Well, this is a nice spot. Let's get some nice photographs. I haven't seen a car in a good couple miles, so if one comes here, then we're just really unlucky. So yeah, after taking these shots, we're going to have a little chat about the build quality of the bike. Always got to get them shots for the Instagram. Link it up here. Ooh, build quality, this is where it goes down. No, I'm joking. To be honest though, like I said, it is a cheap bike. Keep this in mind before I go ahead and shred this bike up. Build quality, it ain't great. Let's not lie. Let's not beat around the bush. I can't just say it's not great. I've got to have some evidence to back it up. What's not great, Jake? The coolant pipes. They were the first things to go. We'll have a little chat about them when we get onto the bike. So quick note, I look after all my bikes, ride it every day, every winter, ACF them, my 390, 14,500 miles on it, 2 winters, immaculate condition, not even a spot of rust on it. This bad boy, ACF the entire bike over winter, rust all around the brake discs, and then this sort of kind of, I don't know, just corrosion in general. You can see it on a lot of these, they're not really painted very well. Now a few of them, like this here, I've sprayed, haven't got around to doing them all. Basically the underlying theme with the build quality, oh, look at that, a car's coming, talk about good timing. That's the problem, that's the build quality of the bike. All the bolts are rusting, or what's the word, corroding. So you know, like when road salt corrodes a bike, that's kind of what it's like. This road's gorgeous. So the bolts corrode, all the metal bolts. There's a few titanium ones that are already built onto the bike. Them ones aren't corroding, but your standard metal ones, I don't know what metal they're made out of, aluminium, I have no idea. But yeah, the paint chips off them, they look messy, look just corroding and cheap. Again, you can buy a complete bolt set and replace them all, which I've started to do. The coolant pipes, now these are something I was pre-warned about when I went into the 07 group before I got the bike, and I was like, oh, what happened to me? I ACF my bike, I'll look after it. It happened to me. You can do whatever you want to these coolant pipes, but they will corrode the same as the rest of the bike. The metal, the paint on them's not sprayed on very well, it's not primed, and the road grubbles kick up and, you know, chip away at that paint. And so what I've done is sanded them off, resprayed them. It's not a hard job, relatively cheap with some heat resistant paint, but the principle's there that you've got to do something extra. It's not convenient. Even has is the swing arm, rust on the swing arm. I have only just encountered a little bit of rust, but some people's don't rust at all. Some people's corrode in front of their eyes, but I don't know what's happening with mine. You can claim it on warranty and get another one, or, you know, you can take it off, sand it off and respray it the same as everybody's done with their coolant pipes. But it's just something to think about. The bike is a cheap bike, the build quality is not the best, I will pre-warn you guys. Now it does sound like I really am ripping into the MT07 here, but remember guys, this is an honest review. It is my motorbike and a lot of people are biased, but if you're wanting a motorbike and you're looking into it and you're spending what, £6,300 on a bike, you don't want somebody online to lie to you. Yeah, it's got its ups and downs, but the one thing that keeps bringing me back to this bike, and you know, it's that engine, the characteristic, the torque, the sound, it's got everything going for it. The MT07 CP2 engine is what makes the bike. If it had a parallel twinning that was just a flat, normal firing one, and it didn't sound like it did and its torque wasn't there, then where's the character in that? So the final point, boys and girls, oh, look at that view. We made it. Let's talk about the final thing before we go ahead and carry on with the ride. The suspension. So the MT07 first came out in 2015? I don't know. But let's say it came out in 15 or 16 or 14 or whatever. Up until 2018 it had the same shape, the same parts, and they just kind of came in different colourways. The suspension on that bike was terrible. Super soft, awful. Then from 18, 19 and 20, those years bikes, these new models with the MT09 headlight, these bikes had a revised rear shock with rebound damping, and they also fixed the front forks, I do believe, made them a little bit stiffer. Let's have a stop here. They're still super soft. Ooh. Well, this is a nice place to wrap the review up if you just want to stop here. The front forks, Again, these really are a quick and easy, cheap fix. Take the front forks off, throw some 20 weight oil in there, get some stiffer springs, you're sorted. Rear shock, that's a little bit more expensive, but you can live with the rear shock. The rear shock on this bike isn't too bad. You can stiffen it up, get the preload ready, set that rebound, get it dialed in. Bearing in mind you don't have loads and loads of adjustment, but you can get it sort of dialed in. It's the front that lets this bike down. Them front forks are super soft. The one thing I've noticed with these forks is the dive. Now if you don't know what diving is, when you're accelerating hard, you drop a gear, hit the brakes, these forks, and you lose all your stability when going into a corner. You just want them forks to slowly, you want that damping, that compression and damping, but there's no adjusters on these. It is how you come. Now for some people, depending what size you are, you might be the right weight for this bike to be perfect for you, but I use heavier riders, taller riders, there's no adjustability on the front end, so that is something to think about. I don't know how to dial in suspension, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I'm not the best at it. I've tried to read into it, I've tried to take the time out of my days to learn about it, but it just won't go in. Suspension is a really complicated thing to learn about on motorbikes. Basically, in a nutshell, you just want to get it right for you. Just get it right for you, make it comfortable. For commuting, it's perfect. You know, it soaks up them bumps very well, but as soon as you get onto them nationals. So a few last points I'm going to go over is how much it costs to service this bike. So 600 miles, it cost me £120 for its first service, a lot cheaper than some manufacturers, Ducati. And then again, insurance, something a lot of people want to know about, but I can't talk about insurance on a bike because it's different for everybody regarding where you live, you know, your personal preferences, if you crashed. So yeah guys, that's kind of the review for the bike. There's not much else to talk about on it. We're just going to head up to the crack on with my day now and head up to the Hartside Pass, somewhere I've never been, get that drone out and have a little look around. Right boys and girls, well, thank you very much for watching. Today's been a very different day to how I imagined it, but it has been fantastic. Started to rain a little bit now, so I got the waterproofs on. Lovely view over there, and I thought now's a good time to stop and end the video. So thank you very much for watching. I know a lot of you people that will be watching today will be new to the channel, because I have a feeling this video will probably be one that invites new viewers, so if so, welcome. If you do enjoy it, then of course subscribe. Anything on the bike you're wondering about, there is videos on the channel, whether that be the tank bag or the quad lock system for my phone mount, they're all on the channel. But yeah guys, I hope you did enjoy. Leave a like if you did. Like I say, now this one's done, go have a look around the rest of the channel. So boys and girls, it's been JBL Motovlogging. Hope you're having a fantastic day. If you are, if you're riding today, ride safe like I always say. But yeah guys, peace.